Okay, here we have my trusted little Sovol SV06. Today we're going to change these bearings, the linear bearings, to these Igus ones. These are the non-lubricate ones, not actual bearings, they're more like slides. So, because it's got rather noisy, both that one and the y-axis. So yeah, we'll change the bearings and see how it goes. Hopefully be a lot quieter. Okay, bed is off. I've already replaced this bed with the upgraded one with a new, better socket on it because I had a short out on it. That was about 25 quid or something. It wasn't too much from Sovol. I've taken the back panel off and taken the screws out of the rail supports at the back. I'll now loosen the belt and I can take the slide right out the back. Now without the belt on, there's no motor noise. You can hear how loud these bearings are, the original ones. That's what I'm going to try and stop. With the carriage off, and I'll now clean up some of the mess I made with the grease. So I think I over greased these bearings, which has caused them to fail. I've actually heard that you shouldn't bother greasing them at all. Just leave them with a standard factory grease in them, because this can cause this to fail, which has got really bad now. So there's the bearing we need to replace. That's the original ZZ bearings, and replace them with these Igus plastic ones. These are Drylin bearing. Oh, sorry, I dropped it. Drylin. Oh, the number is R14JP01-08. I'll put a link to these in the description so you can get yourself some. And these are literally a dry one, there are no bearings in them. They're self-lubricating bearings. So no more mess with the grease and all the dust that sticks to it. I've had to wash the grease out of these little bearing carriers with a little bit of washed up liquid and water. Get them clean. I have noticed the new Igus bearings are slightly loose in the carry. I hope that's not going to be an issue. I'm sure it won't be. Other people have used these before. All three bearings are in now. I've left the carriers slightly loose at the moment because there is a bit of play in them. So I'll get them into the printer itself on the rails, get the rails fixed in at the back again, and then we'll nip them up once they're dead parallel. I don't want to put them in twisted. Okay, just pop the printer on its back so I can do up these screws, and now sounds a lot smoother. Okay, so sound check now before I connect the motor and the belt. You can hear that's a lot quieter than it was with the bearings in. And with the stepper motor reconnected, you hear the noise. Okay, you're always going to have some stepper motor noise. That's kind of unavoidable unless there's an upgrade for the motor as well. Okay, that's the bed all back together. Now we'll start on doing the head up here. You may have noticed on my printer there's a couple of modifications. I've got a modified cooler on there that I 3D printed. I'll put the link to that model on the line, and it's got the upgraded fan on the back. Oh God, where are we? There we are. A bit dusty at the moment. I'll get out a clean mobber at it. I've also got a set of LED lights on there as well. There was a cheap Timu option. So a little USB plug. Okay, let's get started. 3 small screws to remove the head from the carriage. Those there. Be very careful with this little power connection there in the corner. Let's get a screwdriver to remove that. Okay, I'll pop that off. I can remove the head. Okay, with the head stripped down, you can now see the 3 bearings on the top axis. So again, we've got a lot of greasy mess that I caused. Get rid of all this gunk on the end, both sides, and we'll run it dry in future with the Igus bearings. Now obviously, to get these rails out of here, I'm going to need to take the top plates off and take the motors off the top. Pop off like that. And then we'll just wind it up on the motors and take it right out the top. The Y-axis bearings are a little bit more difficult to remove because they kind of clip into this housing. Well, they're in now. The Z-axis bearings I'm going to have to remove on the bench with a parallel pin punch. I've removed the 2 supporting screws in the bottom, but they need punching out, so we'll get that done. Okay, original bearings are out, and as you can see they fell to many parts. Bits all over the place, ball bearings everywhere. But they're out, we'll get cleaned up and get the Igus bearings fitted. Okay, all Igus bearings now fitted, just need to reassemble this thing. Okay, all back together, everything happy, no screws lost, no cables broken. We'll stick this back in its enclosure now, and then I'll put the links on the description for the enclosure for that T800 if you like it. He's pretty cool. I think he was about a 12.5 hour print. Done it on this little SV06, and we'll do a print and see how it comes out. Make sure everything's working fine. Okay, we're back in the enclosure. Just done a little quick calibration. I'm just going to try a test print. We'll see how it goes. And this enclosure I got, it's one of these paper material enclosures. It's perfect for the SV06, just a good size. I'll put a link to that in the description. It's got a pocket on the side for your tools. It just keeps it out of the draft. I find a bit more, much more reliable prints, even with the roof up, you know, just to stop the draft from the sides. Getting much more reliable prints from it. Obviously don't need it enclosed when you're doing PLA. If you want to do any other materials, it'd be good to just zip it up. Oh, sounds good. Barely hear it now moving. I'll clip again when it gets up to speed and see what it sounds like. That is definitely much quieter than it was. Okay, well, happy with that. If anyone knows of any upgrade to the stepper motors for quiet ones, please let me know in the description. But otherwise, I'm quite happy with that little mod. The Igus bearings I believe I bought 2 packs of 8. That about £12 each, so really not much. I'll say I'll put a link to those on the description. Okay, thank you for watching, guys. One last thing, guys, if you want to keep an eye on your prints while you're away from home, just put one of these, if you've got a Ring doorbell, put one of these Ring stick-up cameras in there and just angle it down at your print and keep an eye on your print while it's running.